Okay, we're running around the first bend just to hit the back straight, and we've got a few trees to negotiate, especially this big one here. I have to pick my line underneath, duck slightly, and on my way. Wow. Hello everybody, hope you're doing okay, and welcome to the Guillemont Track. Now this used to be a running track, would you believe, not an old railway. I'm actually now walking back down the home straight. Now in 1998 I was looking for something to do to get learning about web programming, so I thought, well, what better idea to combine my interest in athletics and running than to do a UK running track directory. So that started in 1998. It's still going, I need to update it a bit, but I thought, well, as a new occasional series, I thought I'd do a series of abandoned tracks, and I can cover running tracks, cycle tracks, old roads, old railways, anything that takes my fancy. So I thought this would be a good one to start the series. So I came to this one first of all in 2001. It was exactly like it is now. It's just been engulfed by nature, but you can actually run around it, and I've already done a lap, and we'll have a tack at the course record on Strava at the end as well, see if I can manage that. But yeah, it's just fascinating. You can see we're in parts where it used to be a full 6-lane, full 40-yard track. I think it's so old it was never actually converted to 400 metres. So we'll wander around and see what we can see. It was apparently built by the Royal Engineers between 1947 and 1949 at the behest of their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Thompson. So it's also known as Thompson's Field. So if you look on OpenStreetMap, sometimes you'll see it's referred to Thompson's Field, like the field in the middle, and the actual track is called Guillemont Track, which was named after the Guillemont Barracks, which used to exist until about 1997 when they were sold to Sun Microsystems, which is kind of bizarre because Sun themselves were sort of like leading edge workstations back when I was at university, and they eventually got bought out by Oracle, so they've subsequently left, and the area of the Guillemont Barracks now is just the housing. But if you can see here, you've got like the perimeter fencing for where the track used to be, and it covers most of the ground, but it's completely open access here. It's very quiet, and you can sort of walk your dog, and people can run around. I haven't seen any runners apart myself yet. So here's an area where we can actually see the full width of the track. You can actually see where the curbs were at one end to the other, so let's actually measure those. If you can see here, that's one curb, and if we go to the other side here, we can see the other curb. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I think I've worked out in the past, because my feet are about 33 centimetres in length, that if it's about 22 of my feet, that's equivalent to a 6-lane track. I'll put the maths up, how I roughly came up with that. But yeah, you can see this was the full width of the track here. And of course, there's the perimeter fencing just on the side. But you can see here, this bit, the outer lanes are completely engulfed by nature, but you can still run around. There's probably about 2 widths worth here. And you can see that must have been the curb there, that concrete line. I put up a link to my entry for it in the UK running track directory. It's under Farnborough being the nearest town, which is about 2 miles away, but this is kind of really on Hawley Common, I would say, officially now. Apparently it was used by army competitions up until 1955, so it didn't actually last very long as an operational track, because it was completed in 1949, but apparently it was used by Aldershot Farnborough District for training until about 1972. Christina Boxer, I think who was possibly the first British lady to break 2 minutes in the 800. She used to train here apparently until 1972 under the training group of Ron Stonehouse, with also Bernie Ford, one of the leading distance runners of the time. I think the Aldershot Military Stadium must have opened around that time, so they obviously changed operations from here to over there. So basically it's been lying dormant now since 1972, so best part of 50 years. When I was running around, by me being tall, I have to really basically duck. I have to sort of take a line about here, don't I? You can see even odd posts in the middle of the trees on this side as well. You can see at this point it's barely wide enough to one lane, so this is quite an interesting little run round. It's almost impossible to tell it was a track, just got a little narrow path through the trees here. So where we are now, I think it must be where the original start-finish line was, because if you go behind, I'll take you there in a minute, you can see that if I compare it with the Ordnance Survey map, there's a little bit that sort of sticks out, and I think that's quite common as doubling as an extension for the sprints, and also a bit of like a warm-up area. If we just come into this little bit here, you can see that it's just like it was a bit extension of the track. You can see there's a bit of a curve right at the back here. Nice concrete, and then more perimeter posts. And there's also, I think there must have been some sort of pavilion here, because if we come and look here, there's a concrete sort of structure, the base of a concrete structure here. This looks like it was a building. And also we seem to have got some sort of concrete structure there. Okay, let's see if we can attack the Strava course record around this old track. It's 1:30, which doesn't sound too bad, but you've got to do a bit of weaving under trees, and it's not exactly straight course, and it's a bit muddy. I've got my Pegasus Turbo Next Natures on. Thought they would be an ideal shoe to sort of blend in with these natural surroundings. Perhaps not the ideal shoe though for running fast on a sort of soft surface, but we'll give it a go. And right, I'm going to start off back there somewhere, and I'll leave the camera and we'll see how we go. Okay, pleased to say I managed to get the course record by 2 seconds, so it was quite an adventurous little run. I wasn't quite sure if I was actually on the track at some points, because it was sort of like going around these bends thinking, is this still the track or not? Because it was like, one minute it's sort of quite wide, next minute it's sort of like you're ducking under a tree, going under brambles. But yeah, so just under a 6-minute mile pace, so that was good fun. Now when I was last here, I managed to find a discus circle, so I think it's somewhere over here on the infield, so let's see if we can have a look at that. Okay, this little path here goes into the actual infield. You can see there's the curb there again. I think it's possible that was actually what the discus circle was. It looks very circular, doesn't it? I don't know whether the grass has concealed all the concrete. I'll put up a picture of how it used to be when I took some in 2001. I also found the remnants of a sand pit best part of 20 years ago, but I think that's gone apparently, but that's the other end. I think this clump here was where the sand pit was when I was here 21 years ago. Not much evidence of any sand now, but looking at the picture, I'll put up a picture of the two views. It does look fairly similar. If we come back down about halfway down the home straight, we can see where a lot of old terracing was, because there's even some steps here to go up. It's kind of hard to imagine it now, but it looks like there was terracing all the way along here, with 1, 2, 3, 4, at least sort of 4 or 5 levels, I would say. We're standing on the base of the terracing here. This is one of the few places where you can almost see from one side of the track to the other. There isn't really places where you can, but if we follow this path through here, you can quickly see that the grass field emerges in the distance there. But it's kind of surreal that you've got a track really that is completely buried under nature. I guess the only one that's kind of modern day track that's kind of similar to this one is the Nike Oregon track, where they've got basically trees in the middle, but that's like a proper synthetic track. But you kind of feel it's that sort of vibe, isn't it? You just can't see from one side to the other. So here we emerge into the field, and just through that clearing there is one of the curbs for the back straight. So the discus circle would have been just in front of that big tree, and then the sand pit just over there, but both now 20 years gone, long since gone it seems. I think it's possible that the discus circle may be buried under overgrowth, but we won't worry about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this first series of abandoned tracks. If you get any other ones that you'd like me to do, please let me know. I hope you found this interesting. Like and subscribe, all of that, and see you next one then. Bye! Okay, it's not what you usually expect on a track, is it? To look under a tree.